Appreciate everybody getting up early this morning and getting out of bed and getting rolling. I just thought moving practice up an hour early and trying to get out of the heat a little bit was what's best for our football team, best for our players. Never going to be stubborn about taking care of our football team and taking care of our players. I know last year we lost a couple guys in camp for a couple weeks, and I just want to make sure we have quality practices where guys can fly around and practice football the right way. And I thought we did that this morning. Our focus is everything's is earned. You earn the right to be a part of this program. You earn a right to be a Pirate. And whether it's playing time, whether it's being traveling on the bus, whether it's a starting position, whatever it may be, that's what we're going to be about, and that's what our program is going to be about. And for the next 31 days, we got to earn the right to go win games this season. We got to earn the right to go play well and execute and be disciplined in everything we do. That's what we're building right now. That's what preseason camp's about. And each day we got to grow on that. Thought we had a good first day, but we got to have a better second day and a better third day. And it's got to be like that every single day to earn the right to win and earn the right to play well and get ourselves a chance to win, an opportunity to win. So, it's good to have those guys out there. The good thing is, like, you're going through day one, but it's not really like day one. You've been here all summer. You've been out in OTAs, player-led practices, and guys are flying around, know exactly where to go. So I thought our transition times, which exactly, as a head coach, that's kind of what I look at now is, are we wasting time? Are we doing a great job teaching and coaching, or do we have wasted time? And I thought we were moving around from drill to drill, station to station, period to period pretty fast. I thought our guys knew exactly where to go. And then execution-wise, I thought within the schemes, I thought we did a pretty decent job. We got to have a better urgency about getting lined up and a better urgency about, the next play. I think sometimes in the summer you can get a little bit nonchalant about those things, but that's kind of what summer's about. Now it's time to ramp those things back up and make sure we go earn the right to win this fall. So, again, appreciate you guys coming in a few minutes early. I apologize about changing the schedule up on you. We'll do that for the first couple of days this week until the heat breaks a little bit, and then we'll push it back. So this time we'll go for questions.
Coach, you instituted kind of shorter practices last year. How do you keep that method, but also make sure you get the work in that you need to before the opener?
Yeah, thanks for Stephen for starting us off. I was really disappointed the other day when we did media days down in Charlotte that you weren't the first to ask. I hurt my feelings a little bit. But yeah, last year we kind of late in the season, I think it was about midway when I took over, is just kind of took care of each individual's body, and some of that was just a little bit shorter practice. And sometimes when you go shorter, people think you're doing less, but you can actually do just as much and do more if you're efficient with your time. One of the favorite sayings, I think Coach Tess has kind of always hits on it, is don't mistake activity from achievement. Don't think we're just going through the motions out there and we're getting a lot done. So let's get quality. We got two fields going at one time, call that two spot. We got an A group on one field, a B group on a second field, and they're getting reps. And they're still getting the same number of reps, but we're really cutting that time in half because we're not going in one spot. So we want to be more efficient in things like that and make sure we get quality out of it. But at the same time, taking care of our bodies. I don't want to lose a guy early in camp and he misses 3 or 4 days. Well, what good does that do that individual or our football team? We got to be building up into August 28th. We don't want to, day one, day two, lose a guy and we miss 3 or 4 days and it can cost us down the road.
There was so much talk about state in Charlotte, but did it feel good to get out there today, because now that you got a month ahead of you and all the practice and everything, that it's a long time before you play state?
Yeah, our guys know who we play game one. Our guys know when game one is, and I don't think that's any different than any other year. It's just the first one. It's the biggest game of the year because it's the next game of the year. But really, and we talked about it today, our focus is on us, the guys in this room, the people in this program, and taking the next step. And we talk about two things right now, and we've got a lot of our checklists, check the boxes, things we got to do this summer, paperwork stuff out of the way this summer, different speakers we brought in this summer, and so camp is really about two things: ball, it's about football, and it's about team. So it's about getting better at football every day, but getting better at ball every day, and building a team. And I think we talked about it last spring, talked about it this summer, and the programs that can be the team that build the best team as far as just a culture, I think going to have opportunities to win in the fall, and that's our focus right now, ball and team.
Speaking of the players, Coach, you brought in a lot of transfers. Who impressed you during the spring and the offseason that you hope will continue to rise during training camp?
Yeah, I'm really impressed. I think we've got around 50-something new guys, and I think I said this the other day down in Charlotte. Not only are those the guys who are in our locker room doing a great job of bringing those into the fold and making them feel a part, but the guys coming in are, hey, I just want to help the team win. What can I do to help? Just was getting on JoJo out there because he was calling a penalty or something. I said, that's not what we do, and he was really good. I said, yes, sir. So that's the type of teammate we got to be. So, there's several guys on both sides of the football, and I think sometimes what you see in the spring and what you're going to see in preseason camp or this fall can be two totally different things. A guy coming in the spring is new terminology for him. It's a new culture. He's just trying to get his feet grounded and kind of get set in. And then come preseason camp, well, he feels comfortable. He knows the terminology. He knows the scheme. He knows exactly what he should be doing. And now it's time to see him take off. I've seen it, so many times over the years, whether it's DJ Ford, Omar Rogers, and I can see, JoJo doing that. And see Quez Petaway starting to do that. Ryan Rosenborough, he looked like a different guy today. So it's just day one. You're out there running around with just a helmet and shorts. So, we'll really see it about a week, 10 days from now, exactly where we're at.
You've talked about with all those seniors leaving last year, you're looking for somebody to fill those leadership roles. Who have you seen through the spring and summer fill those?
I think our first team meeting was January 13th, January 12th, back in the winter. And you sit in this room and you realize all of a sudden, like, those 22 guys are gone. And not only those 22 guys, but some voices. And they did a great job laying the foundation of who we want to be. And then since then, I was really worried about then. I remember going home for spring break and Caden walked up to me. He said, how you feeling about our leadership? And just I said, well, totally different. You're starting to see those guys rise to the top, whether it's Caden Hauser, Marlon Gunn, Raheem Craig, Sam Danka, even some young guys. Jamarly Riddle is a younger guy who's only a second-year player. But you can see, especially between the lines, how he has a presence to him. He's got a confidence to him. And I think that's what all those guys, the end of our season, we talked about the other day, you can never take one play from last season into this season or one touchdown from last season into this season. I sure as heck wish we could, but it's really the confidence you're taking from last season. And you can see those guys starting to take off, and just really proud of how those guys are making it their team.
Coach, you mentioned Ryan Roseborough. He's a Greenville guy. He used to be a running back at JP2 high school and then Towson. What have you liked about his game, and what do you hope he brings to this team? Yeah,
you suggesting we put him in the backfield on short yardage? You can take credit for that when we do?
Maybe I will.
I just think Ryan's he's bought in. He wants to be a Pirate. He wants to be here in Greenville. It's his hometown. He grew up a Pirate, and just to see him starting to kind of, figuring out how things flow, where he should be, what he should be doing. He's got to play a little bit lower pad level, do some things like that, take a better first step. But he's starting to figure it out and looks like an older guy out there. He doesn't look like a first-year player. And in the spring, sometimes that's kind of what you look like as a transfer. But now he's starting to look like, older veteran guy that can help us win ball games.
Coach, what does progression look like from week to week? I know you have to ramp it up,
Yeah.
week, but for this first week, what would you like to see? What will be a successful week?
I think it's in everything we do. Like today, when we go at team period, we only got 10 reps. Six of the first group, 4 of the second group. Tomorrow, they'll get more reps. Practice will be a little bit longer tomorrow. So every day, as a coaching staff, we'll start to stress them a little bit. Add more reps on top of that. You don't want to come in day one. You don't go train for a marathon day one and go run 26 miles. You get 3 miles in, then you go get 5 miles in, and 7. I ran a marathon one time. That's been a long time ago. But that's the progression you want to see in practice. But it's also about the little things. Talked about the urgency getting lined up. And you can't focus on everything we did wrong today. You've got to go pick 1 or 2 things as a side of the ball, as a coach, as a player, and say, what 1 or 2 things am I going to go focus on today? Is that running to the ball? Is that taking a better angle? Is that, lower pad level? Is that, doing a better job catching the football, tucking it away, and ball security? All those little things are different at each position, but you got to pick 1 or 2 things every day. And if you get better on 1 or 2 things every day, over a week's time, it's going to add up. And that's what you really look for. Sometimes you don't notice a big difference in progression from day 1 to day 2 or day 3, but over a week's time, by Friday, I think we'll notice a huge difference.
Coach, just looking out there, there are a ton of DBs between safety, corner, nickel. I know you can't evaluate so much early in camp, but it feels like skill you can maybe a little bit. So how do you kind of begin to form a pecking order with that group?
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes, I already just happened to hear his interview last night at dinner, and he was talking about camp and talking about competition and how competition makes each of us better. It makes each of us execute at a higher level and just kind of makes us play at a higher level. And we have a lot of bodies back there in the safety room and the corner room both. And, we got to be strategic about who's getting those reps. But, again, they got to go earn those reps too, and then figure out who can help us win ball games, who we feel comfortable with. Then you're starting to see some of that. You've seen some of that through the spring. You've seen some of that through the summer. But they got to go, do it with pads on and we get rolling and just see how how far they've came and how much they progressed during the summer. And some of the older guys are starting to show that they are older guys. They have played before, and we got to keep going pushing in that direction. And that's probably there's probably a lot of question marks out there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But some of those guys, Sam and some of those guys, they have played a lot. They just haven't started a lot. But corner, it's going to be a brand new starter for the Pirates. But we do have some guys who started at other institutions, other universities. We just got to make sure they fit for us in Dowdy-Fickle Stadium and they're ready on game day.
So this marathon, where, when, will you do it again?
I ran a couple when I was young. I'm a lot older now. I was actually trying to qualify for the Boston one time, and I ran down in San Antonio because I was all flat. I was on pace for about 19 miles, and then I had to stop. I had a little. I was soft, is what it really was, and then get a golf pace. I think I had like a 3:28, 3:30
That's
finish.
so impressive. It's better than my dad.
I didn't qualify, so I'm a failure.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you.